Welcome to Heroes 2, the Making of a Game. Today we are going to be sharing with you how we assembled a team of heroes to create the ultimate Bible trivia game. With me is Pastor Sam, who was the creator of Heroes 2, as well as Arnaldo, who was the original project manager on Heroes 1. Welcome, guys. I'm glad you're here with us today.
Great to be here.
Thank you, Alisa.
So let's just get right into this. So it started off, I believe, right, with 4 guys and this brainstorm vision. Explain a little bit the team that created this, started with this.
All right. So the first Heroes, we knew that we had to create a game because everybody was playing games. And the gospel needed to be in a game, of course, connecting people with the Bible. Now we realized we wanted to do something heroic. And then the first person that we called, we need a developer. And then we need somebody to manage the team. And then we need an artist. And then we need, in fact, it's so complicated to make a game. Lots of people needed to be inspired to give the best work of their lives to the first Heroes. And Arnaldo is here with me. He was the project manager at the time. We hired this flat in London, and we all kind of gathered there and came up with the concepts, the questions, and we had people from different parts of the world also helping. And the first game eventually came out, right? It was an incredible exercise. Then the game was played like 10 million minutes of interaction with the biblical narrative. Beautiful stuff. But we realized we needed to do a Heroes 2 because people are searching for Bible trivia, Bible game, and we could make the absolute best game. So this was like one of those Avengers moments, that the team assembles again together. And I called Arnaldo and I said, Arnaldo, let's do it all over again. Now, when you make a game, you're in the trenches. It's hard work. You work forever. You get paid nothing. It's horrible. So for me to go back to Arnaldo and say, hey, how about 16-hour days once again? And to my surprise, he's like, let's do it. And I went to Jader. I traveled to London, talked to Jader, and Jader said, yes, we need to do this. And then the artist, and then the other guy. Now, assembling this team, we need one person to work full-time as a developer, right? And the guy who helped the first one was now making apps for Disney. How do you convince the guy to stop making apps for Disney and come to get basically peanuts to make games for God? And Julio decided, you know what? That's exactly what I'm going to do. So then Julio came into the team, the main developer. And one by one, these incredibly mission-minded, passionate young people decided that they were going to put their own interest and career second, and they were going to put God first. So it's very inspiring, even to share a screen with Arnaldo, because he's always ready for mission. And that's kind of how the team came together.
So let's go back to that initial thing. How on earth did he convince you, Arnaldo, that like this was what you were going to do, that you were going to just drop everything, become a project manager for a Bible trivia game?
Well, it has been very inspiring to work with Sam. In fact, I had just before Heroes, I had worked with him in another project. We created this Christmas album, and we have a very funny story that happened. I had just gone back to England. It was, I think, September, October. He came with this idea of this Christmas album, and then things were going terribly wrong. People were not progressing as they should. And I decided one morning to send him an email saying, listen, this is not going to work for this and that. And his reply was, get a grip, talk to people, make this happen. So it's always been quite inspiring to work with Sam. And when he invited me to work with this, I knew it was going to be a challenge. I was a student at the time. I was trying to do my master's degree, at the same time helping create questions, making sure that people did what they're supposed to do at the right time. But it was very rewarding to see a project being born that was very relevant at the time, and a lot of people being very passionate about it, and people coming from nowhere to join us with the mission, which was exactly what happened now, as Sam was describing. I call this a miracle, because for you to put a bunch of people like this together to create a project that hasn't been done before in the church, I mean, it's amazing.
So let's talk about this. You're a project manager. So for those of us who maybe don't understand, what does a project manager do in like 2 sentences? You get 2 sentences to describe everything you do as a project manager.
I would
Okay,
I would
so
love to try and describe what Arnaldo does. He tells people what to do and then annoys them to make sure that they do it. That's my version of it, but I'm sure his will be much better.
well, that's pretty much it. But basically, you have to understand what the project is, where it is going, and what are all the gaps, all the details that need to be accomplished in order to make it a success. What copy needs to be written? Are there videos that need to be edited? What about the developing team? Or what are the challenges they're facing? We also need to make sure we fall all of this into the budget we have for that project. So it's looking at every single detail and making sure it's done within the budget and within the time we have set to do it.
Those are 2 very long run-on sentences. Very great job. Anyways, so we now know what a project manager does. I know, Sam, you threw out a bunch of other like job titles, different things they do, developers and all these things. So like I've started kind of working on a few like apps with some different people, and there are so many things that like people have no clue. So let's just start with one thing. How many people currently, so it started with 4 people kind of visioning this, for Heroes 2, where we're at right now, how many people are working on Heroes 2? From the development to the like getting the social media going. How many people are working on it?
Over 20. And let's try and simplify, create some structure. A game is divided into 3 parts. You need the art department, you need the engineering department, and you need the marketing department. In the case of our games, you need the evangelism department, because every game we make has a very simple reason: to inspire people to die to themselves and give their lives to Jesus. That's the goal there, and it's not a secret either. Now, with these 4 different areas, we needed a very strong art direction and a very strong, and F4D Media, they're in London, helped us throughout this entire process of helping us to get to where we are. The whole art direction and the details. We interviewed over 70 artists from different parts of the world, and only 2 or 3 made the cut. And then you take that art and you need to model it. So you need a 3D modeler. And it takes about 2 weeks per character. We have 12 characters. So it takes forever. Every detail matters, and the shades and the shadows and so on. And then you need somebody that will rig the character. In other words, give it bones, make it move in different ways. And then you need the animation guy who is going to make that character breathe and bring some life to that character, all under the art department. Apart from that, you need the screens for the game. You need every button to be different and separate. So that's the art department. Then you need the engineering department. You need the developer. And we use Unreal Engine, which is one of the best of the open engines, the best in the world. It's almost overkill for a mobile game. But of course, we want to take this to the computer. We want to take this to Xbox and PlayStation and so on. So the engineering department is going to look at the code, how to take that art and make it work. How do you do the multiplayer? Where is the data positioned? And then you have to liaise with lawyers to find out that the data is secured and properly placed and people give permission. So there's a whole process going on there. Within the engineering department, you have people that can add the sounds, and you have people that can add the screens, and others that do the code in C++ if you're interested. And then you have the marketing department. Okay, people need to know about this. Now, thank the Lord that Hope Channel has partnered completely and is the one publishing the game. So this is a Hope Channel published game, which means that there are 62 Hope Channel affiliates around the world that are going to be presenting the game to the world. So there is a lot of people on marketing. We've contacted close to 5,000 news channels and social media accounts and radio stations and so on. So we're contacting everybody in Christendom and beyond about this game. Finally, the evangelism department. We've had Bible studies being written. As we speak, we're finalizing the spiritual development for teens section of Heroes. And there are so many other things in that realm. So you need great people in all of this. Steve Jobs had a sentence, and he had a profound impact in my life in the way that he dreamed and innovated and so on. And he said, you can never add a B player to an A team. If you have a team of A players, people that are amazing at what they do, as soon as you bring somebody who is mediocre into that team, everybody loses motivation. So I would say that one of the most important things to bear in mind when you're building sort of this dream team to do something is, unless somebody is ready to join this high quality standard that you're setting, it's better for you not to have somebody than to have someone as a B player, because it will destroy the rest of the team. So take Arnaldo, because I'm looking at him. Arnaldo, in the first game, he coordinated 180 people. And it was incredible because the tools just weren't there at the time. The project management tools that we have today are just on a different league compared to 8 years ago. But he managed to do it. How did he do it? Because God gave him the gift, and everybody admired that. It was the same with the developer, the same with the artist. And so you bring your best to it. You bring your best to the table because you know everybody else is doing the same.
I've experienced Arnaldo's gift of nagging people to get their job done. And I, honestly,
you're almost making me sound very bad. It's like I'm not that cruel. Come on.
No, so Arnaldo is absolutely gifted, like abundantly gifted with being able to see all the different pieces and make sure that they all flow well. Heroes, I don't believe, would be where it is if it weren't for someone like that gift. And the cool part about what you're saying, though, Sam, is like there's so many different talents, different things that are needed. And it's not just this easy thing. It's a team. There's like this whole process to this. And I think sometimes people think you just like throw something together. Now, let's talk about like an app, though. Like, how many people would really, like on a Disney app or like some of these other game apps, how many people do you think work on many of these apps in comparison to what we have going on?
Hundreds.
So with about 20 people, God has gifted this incredible game that would normally take hundreds of people to do.
Without a doubt. It takes millions of dollars and hundreds of people to make AAA games, we call them. And not every game has this number of people, but we can see God multiplying every resource with Heroes. We can see things, the efficiency of things, even the change in the teams. Because Arnaldo started as a project manager, but then we switched to Jeff. Jeff is now the project manager and has been for the last, 6 months or so, Arnaldo?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So, and he's done a phenomenal job, in passing on that whole mission to that. The designer, the art director, has now moved on to other projects, and now we have a new design team that is coming in. And even if the team changes, because life happens, the project goes on in a beautiful way.
I want to touch on something real briefly, is that you've also brought in young people, Sam, to kind of help with different things. And I think this is really neat. Can you kind of touch just briefly, like 30 seconds at the most, okay? The idea of bringing young people in to help you with this project.
Our head of quality assurance, which is one of the most important parts, he's 19 years old. The community manager, the person who manages the thousands of beta testers that we have, she's 16 years old. We have to wait for her to finish high school in order for her to get on and do this stuff. Can you imagine these young people in 10 years with the experience of being part of an exciting mission project? And this is really at the heart of it. And I'm going to try not to get too excited. But there are thousands of ideas that God is giving to local church leaders, local church pastors, to young people, to lay people. And those ideas are coming. The Holy Spirit is inspiring them. They're having dreams and visions, just like the prophecy said, if only they had the courage to do something about it. Not to wait on whether the church will support or not. Just do it. Just like Nike says, just do it. Gather a team of people that believe what you believe. Put in the time, God will multiply it, and then the project will flourish because God is giving ideas to everybody, and we can make a whole revolution in innovation if only we take seriously the idea that God gives us.
That's really great. To kind of like end on, but I do want to just give Arnaldo, do you have what is your favorite experience from being a part of a team like this?
Well, seeing everything happening with a small team, as I said in the beginning, it's been a miracle since the very first version we released of Heroes. And as Sam was saying, for this version, we have about 20 people working on it. And seeing everyone so committed, so passionate working on this, it's an inspiration. It, even when you feel tired, it doesn't make you want to feel like you should stop. And I can't wait for the game to be out and seeing, let's say, millions of kids everywhere, teenagers playing the game and being inspired by the great stories we have from the Bible, which nowadays so often get forgotten. And Heroes is here to help us to revive these amazing stories, these amazing inspirational stories, and of real heroes that we can count on, like Jesus, our ultimate heroes.
And Sam, one last thing from you. What would you say to somebody who has a brilliant idea, like you all did, the four of you? How do you assemble a team of heroes like you did to be able to create this? What would you give them as your piece of advice? Start talking to everybody that is willing to listen. And God will lead you to people that will say, I love it. And don't worry about those that are going, because there's some people that just love pointing out why things won't work. And isn't that right? We all know those people. Yeah. When the idea isn't quite born yet, don't go near those people. They're like thorns that killed the seed. You need to be near people that are going to give it some life and ground, and God will gravitate some people toward you that are just going to help you and inspire you. And when you meet those people, honor them and try your best to inspire them and work with them and dream with them, because they will give you the best work of their lives for something that matters. Don't give up on the idea. Get rid of those that are trying to kill it and focus on those that are willing to do something with it. Thanks you guys for joining us. Like, this is really exciting to just like start understanding the process of the making of the heroes. And I just want to invite all of you to keep coming back and watch the different videos. We're going to go through the entire process from making music to like how the game development happens. And we are excited to bring you along on this journey with us. So thank you for coming and watching how we assembled this team of heroes.